Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. The Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 171, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zachy Hassan, and I'm here after the snap. I survived the snap. I'm here 5 years later. It feels like 5 years later with Brian Hall.
Yes, and it's good to be here with you, even though things are just insane, right? All these people back, people that ended relationships, the people reappeared, people that were in airplanes when they got snapped reappeared in the sky.
That's
chaos.
Wow, yeah. People may have committed suicide.
Yeah,
because
and they
of
would
their loved ones
not
being
be
lost.
Brought back.
Man, Tony Stark.
Way to go, guys!
Dick. Yeah, we are what, 2 weeks out from Avengers Endgame?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
And it has left box office records demolished in its wake. Like, where are we at with the box office for that movie?
Domestic, currently we're at 728 million as of May 13th.
Wow. Okay. So that would make it number 2 at the box.
Number 2 behind Star Wars: The Force Awakens. The domestic total for that was 936 million.
Yeah, I don't think that record is going to be toppled anytime soon.
That's humongous. I remember that it was huge, of course, but I didn't remember it was almost 1 billion domestic alone. Wow.
Well, you know what happened is it benefited from sort of having the perfect corridor to debut in.
Yes. I mean, do you mean the time of year?
Yeah. I mean, it was like 2 weeks before Christmas, and then basically it just played through like February.
Yes. And then Avengers eventually is going to start bumping into all the other stuff here, even Spider-Man. What's interesting, though, is Force Awakens ended worldwide at 2 billion, and currently Avengers Endgame worldwide is at 2.5 billion.
Yeah, so suck it, Star Wars. Well, yeah, I mean, and I think the conventional wisdom says that the Avatar worldwide total will probably be toppled.
Yeah, so where's that at? That's at 2.7. Ooh.
2.7. So we'd be what, like 200 million more
Ish,
that Avengers need to make. So not a foregone conclusion, but it's at least an outside possibility.
Yeah, Avatar, we saw you.
But Cameron math is like a whole other thing, because you can, we're all like, well, sucks to be Avatar 2, and watch Avatar show up, make like 4 billion.
See, that's what I'm saying. I know we're all kind of being cynical about it. It's fun to do that, but who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah, it's almost like a mantra on this show. I will never be the guy to bet against James Cameron.
Yep.
That being said, I mean, you've now seen Avengers a couple more times since our last conversation. You'd only seen it one time.
Yes, I've seen it twice now, and I enjoyed it, I would say, equally. I mean, it's funny because sometimes with these big movies, I've mentioned this, or like even like major albums I'm looking forward to from a band, when I hear it the first time, I'm like, okay. Like, and I can't even process. Like, I need to hear it. Now that I know what it is, I need to listen to it again and understand my feelings. But Endgame right away, I was like, no, I really like this.
Yeah.
So the first time. And then the second time, I guess the compliment I could give it is the 3 hours running time that I had already gone through just breezed by again.
And you and I got to watch it together.
Yeah, we did. Up in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, so that was my 4th time seeing it.
Okay, so what's it? How's it play a 4th time?
It doesn't feel like a 3-hour movie. That's what I mean. I would feel no inclination towards spending those hours watching it again, even if I liked it, because I'd be like, man, it's 3 hours. But it really does breeze by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I to some extent, I think that the way Act 3 culminates is so fulfilling. Mm-hmm. That it's worth investing the 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then they find the things that stuck out to me more the second time were some of the smaller moments. At least I remembered them better. Like the moment with Ant-Man and the tacos.
Yes.
And then Hulk gives him his tacos after they're ruined. And I was like, I'm glad I think that's worthy of the running time, having those little moments of them as a team.
Yeah,
working
the little
together.
moments. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I know somebody else commented on how they were like, oh, they should have cut the little thing at the end where Thor is like riffing with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And I was like, but I liked that.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think it's too long. Like if it had been a completed scene, it's more like a send-off or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a couple reasons. I mean, for one thing, tonally, it stands slightly apart from everything that's happened before. So there's the sense of like, okay, now we're moving forward now. You know what I mean? Like this story is ending, but now other stories are beginning.
Yeah.
And I think that's it's a movie that works. That will definitely reward multiple viewings. And I've said this before, but to me, I'm genuinely interested to see how 10 years from now it's the kids that are watching it now how they are gonna plug in.
Yeah, and you wonder also. I mean, as we look at Star Wars has become this thing that was just. To quote Thanos, I guess, inevitable. Like, I mean, it's just something that everybody knows that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father, even if you've never seen the movie. Like, these are inevitable movies. But then as they started making more, it welcomed more opinions and more dissent and more, possibilities for stories not to live up to what we had been cemented as legendary in all of our hearts, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder, as you move forward with this now, like this did feel like a capper, like a conclusion.
Yeah.
And as you continue forward, are people going to be like, yeah, it's just not like the Infinity Saga?
Yeah.
Or is
I've had that thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, will this eventually get to that place where people are like, well, yeah, I have my Marvel movies.
Right.
You know?
Whatever character comes in, Shang-Chi's a Mary Sue. We're gonna get those.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that what they've done, the way they've structured is very smart. Is where they've said, okay, this is the wrap up, but it's not. We're not going to have to wait, 15 years for things to continue. So people aren't going to invest this with the same degree of anticipation that happened with Star Wars.
Sure.
In the sense that between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, you had, what was it, almost 30 years of like people filling in the gap.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think that's the biggest problem. Right. Is that with the sequel trilogy, it's less about what it is, and more about what it's not.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Which, by the way, I mean, you're a Game of Thrones fan. Seems like a lot of people are having the same issue with the finale of that show. Yeah.
I was gonna just briefly mention it because it seems to be, a current sort of zeitgeisty phenomenon.
Yeah. So hold that thought. But that's
okay.
That's my point, right? It's a lot of this built up anticipation, and I think. I don't know. Like, what do we have coming up in Marvel? You got like Black Panther 2. Well, I don't think people are like, oh, here's what I want to see happen in Black Panther 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just like, oh, there's going to be another Black Panther movie.
Yeah, and even Spider-Man. I think I can't even say that I'm looking forward to it if I'm being honest. Like, I'm not thinking about it at the moment, like counting down the days.
Yeah. But
I know when it arrives, I'm going to be excited to see it.
Yeah,
so it's a different sort of anticipation.
And I think that. And you've said this, right? Marvel, the Marvel Universe is a very high budget TV series.
Right.
So every new movie is just a new episode, and what they've done very effectively is create a world that people enjoy going to visit.
Yeah, and coupled with that, I would say that the trailers for Spider-Man 2 aren't, Spider-Man 2. I was like, there's so many of them.
There's so many Spider-Man 2s. Yeah. This is Spider-Man 2, 3.
Yes. They haven't really done a whole lot for me, if I'm being honest. However, I know I'm going to love it. You know what I mean? Like, I just know what they are capable of these days.
Well, and I think
that's enough.
I think for you, it's like, well, I mean, I want to see what happens next in the universe.
Exactly.
You know? And I think what they've said is that Spider-Man Far From Home is the epilogue for Phase 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so technically it's still like it's like putting a little button on everything that's happened so far, and then what's going to happen in the next phase is going to be completely different.
And that going along with the TV analogy, I mean, what other movie can you ever think where they're like, yeah, this is like the button, this $200 million movie to what preceded it, you know?
It's funny because talking about TV, the side that has taken it most on the chin, unfortunately, is the actual TV side of Marvel. Because they just premiered the 6th season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, okay.
And so the whole question was like, oh, how are they going to deal with the snap? Mm-hmm. Because the 5th season was actually set concurrent. Basically, as the 5th season ended, it was kind of by virtue of dialogue and stuff. The implication was like Infinity War was happening as the 5th season ended.
Okay.
And so season 6 picks up a year later. So it would be in the middle of that sort of, you know, the decimation period or whatever they call it.
Oh, interesting. Did you watch it?
I watched some of it, and I was like, oh, I wonder how they're going to deal with it. And the answer is they're not at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Basically, like, there's no mention of Thanos or anything. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, that's weird. And I look up some interviews, and they're like, yeah, we're just not addressing it because the movie people don't tell us anything, and we don't know what to do, so we're just gonna not. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So essentially, because it kind of makes sense, right? The movie people didn't even give the actors a full script.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
They're like, hey, Cumberbatch, read this line and look that way, you know?
Yeah. I read, I'm sure you read, like, there's been millions of articles, but Chris Evans was the one who told Anthony Mackie that he's going to be becoming the next captain. He's like, hey, congrats. And Anthony Mackie's like, what are you talking about? Like, they didn't tell you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Mackie told that story, and he's like, I started to cry, then Evan started to cry, and then they were filming it. And when you watch the scene in the film, and you see the tears in his eyes, you realize, oh, that's like genuinely, that's him, you know? But so if they're not even, that's my point, if they're not even telling the next Captain America, like, hi, I'm the producer of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I was wondering if you guys could click, hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
I know.
It's the TV side are like, well, there's like a way to make it work, I guess, but I'm sure the fans can figure something out. Like they've just given up.
Well, I mean, as long as whatever I don't watch it, but I guess if they can keep their threads going, that the fans enjoy.
I mean, the funny thing is that show has been renewed for 2 more seasons.
Oh wow!
So this season 6 that just started, and then they've already been picked up for season 7. You know, and I've said this before. It's not a bad show. You know, so it's just funny how ostensibly the TV side and the movie side are connected, but those threads are practically non-existent.
So you know what I would have done if I was the showrunner on that? I'd be like, look, obviously we're going to debut after Endgame, so let's just do this. Let's just acknowledge that something crazy happened. Like, I'd start it with all of us like on the ground with rubble everywhere and go, woo-hoo-hoo! That was crazy.
That was nuts. Yeah.
And then just like, woo, dust ourselves off and be like, all right, what's on the docket?
What's next? Yeah.
Yeah. And then no matter what, it probably would play.
Well, you know, actually, speaking of the Marvel TV side, I didn't plan for this to eat up our front side, but they are also on Hulu, because Hulu, by the way, Hulu is now like fully Disney owned and controlled now.
Which is funny because when I read it, even the headline, I was like, whoa, it felt like some sort of huge takeover or something. It really did feel like ominous. Thanos snapped his fingers, didn't it? Yeah, it's like, whoa, why am I getting a weird feeling from this? Yeah.
But so Hulu is going to have a Ghost Rider live action series.
Oh, interesting. Interesting it won't be on Disney Plus.
Which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
You know, Ghost Rider's about a guy who made a deal with the devil and sold his soul to become this demon, so probably not a great fit with the Disney brand.
See, but that's so clever because we've talked about this before, where in the 80s, 90s, you know, Disney had their Touchstone or their Miramax.
So this is Touchstone, right?
So this is their Touchstone, and so they can have their Disney Plus.
That's right.
They can also have their Touchstone. pretty brilliant.
So the character of Ghost Rider was introduced on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's played by Gabriel Luna, who is in the next Terminator movie. I believe he's the Terminator.
Oh, wow.
Or a Terminator. But he will play Ghost Rider in this series, which they're saying has no connection to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is horseshit, because of course it does, because it's the same guy playing the same character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, come on. I think my guess is they want to be like, no, don't, like, you don't have to watch 5 seasons of a show to watch our show. That's my guess.
Yes. I wonder if the quality control over there is going to be as, heavy as they would to Disney Plus.
That's the question. I mean, in terms of the effects and everything, I mean, they put money into this stuff, and having shorter seasons helps, I think, because you get to spread the cost out a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, I watched a couple things on Hulu. Like I watched that Stephen King, whatever it is, 11/22/63.
Yes,
and I was pretty disappointed with it.
You were,
and so I got to imagine now that Disney. It's like Disney's Hulu, basically. Like, I wonder if they're going to be overseeing things and making things are better up to snuff a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know. Well,
or if not having Disney's name on it, it's just Hulu, they can be like, this sort of middle tier thing, we can throw it on Hulu.
Well, Hulu is Handmaid's Tale, right?
Yes, which I have not seen, to be fair. Which I heard
we're living in Handmaid's Tale right now, so that's like...
See, I didn't know that. I need to watch it.
That's why you got to watch the show. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the show. I mean, the premise feels very oppressive to me. And not to say it's not a good show. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I'm like, I want a little bit of escapism in my escapism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But wasn't that Castle Rock? Wasn't that a Hulu show also?
Yes.
They have
like
a few Hulu originals.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have very limited sort of experience with them, but I'm just saying, I thought it was just fine. Like, it probably would have been forgotten on TV, what I watched. So I'm just wondering if this is Disney's other TV channel, so to speak. I wonder if they're going to watch a little more closely with the quality level over there.
That's a good question. I think Hulu being sort of absorbed into the bloodstream of Disney fully, it makes sense, especially because I was reading a thing yesterday about how once the Marvel stuff leaves Netflix, once Star Wars leaves Netflix, once The Office and Friends, a lot of these sort of branded IPs are going to be leaving Netflix. Mm-hmm. And Netflix is going to be faced with sort of a crisis of content.
Yeah, I mean, people said with Disney Plus, well, it was a poll, with Disney Plus alone, when that launches, Netflix expects to lose about 28% of their customers.
That is bonkers. And
it's like, close to a third of their customers. I mean, think about the revenue. They keep raising the price because of, they spend like a crazy person. So you got to wonder. And also, I'll believe that when I see it. I think people are too lazy for that. I'm willing to take that bet. I think a lot of people are going to cancel Netflix. I think once, like, I think Netflix is probably one of those things like, I got it, it's fine, I'll just keep it, But like, once there's a thing where, like, oh, okay, do I want this or do I want this? Like, if you have to make that choice. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think people are lazy. I know I'm lazy, and I'm someone who actually does check my credit card statement every month. And like, I think if they start losing Friends and Offices and shows like that, I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah, well,
because they're definitely not the movies that are keeping people over there.
It ain't the Netflix originals, and they don't have a series that's really been zeitgeisty since
Stranger Things.
There you go. So they got Stranger Things, the third season coming, and I mean, there's no. This is the problem with Netflix being its own thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like for Disney, Hulu can potentially be a loss leader. Mm-hmm. Because there's enough money everywhere else to sort of keep it afloat, right? I think here's my point. I think I'm going to give Netflix some advice. Hey, billion-dollar company, they should, instead of investing so heavily in original content, they should have invested in acquiring a back catalog that was theirs.
Sure, yeah, like a Fox or something.
Yeah, I mean that's why Disney bought Fox. That was one of the main reasons. They've said it because they want to have a strong library of content right out the gate for Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Netflix has, I mean, look at their originals, right? Look at how much money they've spent on their originals and how many of them have busted out, right?
Yeah.
House of Cards fell down like a thing, a thing that falls.
Yeah.
What was One Day at a Time? People were talking about that, and now it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All the Marvel shows are done. I mean, you got Stranger Things. Okay, is the third season right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the third season going to be as anticipated as the first two? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
But
I think that's one of the few sure things that they have.
Okay.
But I think what's interesting about them, it's funny. It's like the plus and minus of what they do. Like the plus is you do get a show like One Day at a Time, which I know had like a really faithful, devoted following.
Yeah.
But it didn't have great numbers.
Right.
And so if you have a couple of those, that's one thing. But they have so many shows, so many shows that probably only get middling numbers that aren't profitable. Then a couple of huge hits. So it's nice that you can get more niche content, but it ultimately just isn't sustainable.
Yes.
So it's like they're gonna have to. It's sort of the necessary evil of running a big thing like this. Like you do have to kind of meet everybody in the middle at some point somewhere.
I mean, they have this show, I Think You Should Leave, which
Yes, I was actually going to bring that up.
it's very sort of buzzy,
Yeah.
And that was I feel like I know you pretty well.
Yes.
Because I watched the first episode just on a lark, and it was just the first episode, and as soon as it ended, I texted you, and I was like, I think you should watch this.
Yes.
And so when you got back to me, like the next day, you were like, "Oh, that was hilarious." I was like, "Oh."
No, what's funny too? If you reach out and tell me I'm going to like something, I would say there's a 99.999% chance you're absolutely correct. So I was like, okay, no questions asked. I'm turning this on now. And oh man, it was so funny. There was a couple sketches in there. It's like a sketch comedy thing, and it's only like 16-minute episodes.
Yeah.
And some are hit or miss, but the ones that just hit so well. And I had a stomach ache after one of them. I had tears after one of them. I mean, they're just so funny. I just really love it. It's like all the sketches are sort of like a real world scenario, and then the people just won't stop. When they should stop in a normal social situation, they keep pushing and pushing, and then it starts going into surreal places.
It's one of those things that it's going to be a Rorschach test.
Sure.
Like certain people will find it absolutely hysterical. Some people will find it infuriating.
Yeah.
All right, and some people just won't get it at all. And you can sort of, you can sort of tell. I've been watching it with my wife, and she, like a good 2/3 of the sketches, she'll be like, "What?" I'm
yeah,
like,
which is fair.
What the thing? It's funny,
Well, it's funny too because I started doling it out because I didn't want to just burn through the whole thing. And at one point, I was a little over halfway through, and I started to wonder if it was going to sustain because it was like, okay, I started to sort of see the formula.
Yeah.
And then I got to that sketch where it was the not walk hard, what's the real one? Walk the line
yes.
parody about like a guy I won't spoil it, but it's like a guy in a booth in like the 50s trying to sell a song. They're like, hey, we're not making those types of songs anymore. But if you have something that you've written from your heart, maybe we'll listen to it. And it's just sort of like a guy being like, all right, guys, follow my lead. And it just goes to like what would possibly happen if that really tried to happen in a booth in real time.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, this show is still
this guy, Tim Robinson, he's hilarious.
Yeah, I was kind of happy for him because he was on SNL, which I completely had forgotten.
Me too. He had that face, right? I was like, he looks really familiar, but I couldn't place it.
Yeah, and apparently he was a performer, and then he got bumped down, if you want to call it that, to just being a writer.
To being a writer.
And you got to imagine at one point he thought his story was finished, to some degree. It's like, well, I didn't make it on SNL. Like, what? Now what? And then to see him put out this show, and I've seen a lot of people praising it out there. It's like, oh, he got to do his specific brand, and it's hitting well. So that's nice.
Yeah. I'm actually on his Wikipedia page. It says here, Tim Robinson is the second cast member after Brian Doyle Murray to go from featured player to staff writer. and the first SNL performer to become a writer after being cast only as a featured player. Ouch. Right, because the idea is like you go from featured player to regular.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you could get fired too, so it is like a glass half full situation.
Yeah. Well, it seems like he must have become buzzed with the Lonely Island guys, because I see they produced it, and it definitely has their flavor to it. So, I mean, if you're a fan of that kind of thing.
Well, and I mean, you see so many SNL people. I mean, there's Andy Samberg was in one, and Cecily Strong. I mean, you name it, right? So
yeah.
I think
Vanessa Bayer, I love her.
Yeah, I mean, the thought I had is like those connections you make with creative people are going to pay dividends.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the particular wavelength of his comedy is it's easy to see why all these SNL people are showing up in these sketches.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and then going back to what we were saying, I mean, it's cool that there's a Netflix to distribute his very, very
it's
a particular brand of comedy.
It's too niche for Comedy Central.
Yeah,
Yeah. But anyway,
or at least too niche for them to take a chance on. There's the odds that it could possibly hit.
Yeah.
But for them, it's just like I don't know. We got to go with something a little bit, another comedy news show, or whatever.
Yeah. It feels very Adult Swim. Like it's the type of thing.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Netflix.
wow, sorry, we went down.
That wasn't even on our document.
Yeah, this is what we do, folks. This
is us in the car together.
The Game of Thrones thing, I'm fascinated by because the finale is like about to air.
Yes, this coming Sunday. Yeah.
So this is it. Like 10 years.
Just about. I think it started 2011. I want to say.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, about a decade, and yeah, it's interesting.
People are pissed.
People are pissed. I'm somewhere. I'm not pissed.
You're pissed-ish?
That should be a show.
That's a spin-off of Blackish.
But yes. I saw the perfect visual of how people feel about the show. And these are based obviously on the books by George R.R. Martin, which were, had a huge fan following before the show.
Which are not finished.
Which are not finished. There's 2 books left. And at one point the show lapped him. We are past now what we know Martin is going to do. And with that in mind, someone drew this picture, and it's of a horse.
Yes, I've seen this.
Have you seen this? Yeah. So it says like seasons 1 through 4, and it's like this perfectly rendered, lifelike picture of the back end of a horse. And then it's like the middle seasons, and it's a little less shaded. And then the last seasons, it looks like a little child drew the head. and I get it. I definitely think it's not as elegant and patient and nuanced as it was. People aren't wrong. And I think it had I think patience is the best word. I mean, that's why people liked it so much. It's really not even in my wheelhouse. I don't like medieval stuff. I tend to not like super violent stuff. And this show is as violent as it gets and medieval and crazy. But the characters were so rich. And just, it subverted expectations so many times. And the good guys lost. And it just, there was something so compelling about it. And we've come to we've come to the conclusion, let's say, and apparently Martin told Benioff and Weiss how it was going to end.
Those guys being the showrunners.
The showrunners, sorry. And I think what's I read somewhere, and I think this sounds about right. It seems like they were told how it was going to end, and they're like, great. And so then they just kind of were like, okay, well, we got to get to this. And obviously Martin had a plan, and he has 1,400 pages to naturally, smoothly get us to some character turns that we might not like. But in this TV show, they're like, oh, well, we're ending it. This is the final season, so we've got to get this person to do this thing. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are feeling like it doesn't feel natural or earned quite yet. I've read a lot of people say, I get it. Okay, I can buy this, but you didn't earn it yet.
Yeah.
So that's what the feeling I'm getting from this.
So we're talking about a character turn that the character Daenerys, right? Is that how it's pronounced?
I don't know that I want to get into it.
Well, we won't get into it. I mean, that's all. I'll just say that.
Yeah, even that I could imagine some people being a little upset about if they haven't seen it yet.
Well, the only reason I bring this up is because there's a lot of people in the last 8-9 years who've named their children Khaleesi.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I've seen
who
that
are
in, like, a lot
who
of
are extremely upset now, and I'm like, well, A, don't name your kid Khaleesi, and B,
Yeah.
the story ain't done. At least wait till it's done before you start deciding what fictional fantasy world character to name your child after, right?
Well, it's yes.
That's like
my
watching episode 1 and naming your kid Anakin. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Right. My brother literally brought this up years ago because we have two friends who've named their daughters Arya.
Okay.
And my brother, when he heard that, was like, let's wait till the series is over.
But see, the name Arya, like, you can, that it doesn't have to be exclusively Game of Thrones.
Sure. Yes, right.
Right? Like, there's a difference, let me put it this way. There's a difference between naming your kid Luke and naming your kid Lando. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Like, one, you're locked in. You are a Star Wars named kid. One, it's like, well, it's Luke.
Yes.
Luke's a name, you know?
Right, right.
So that's been just kind of amusing to me because again, I don't follow the show. This is the only, I think I've said this. This is the first time ever I've experienced a show entirely through social media.
Sure, yeah.
So I've kept up. I know every single development. I know all the characters. I know everything. Never watched a frame of footage.
Wow, yeah.
Kind of like I, the whole Hodor thing that happened a couple of years ago.
Right.
I was like, oh man, I'm like, I've never seen the show. I don't even know what Hodor looks like.
I love that you probably like teared up over that storyline over the Wikipedia page.
That's exactly it. Because maybe this is just me, but like Sunday nights at whenever that show comes on, you get on Twitter and just,
Yeah. Sure.
everyone's got there. So you're kind of like, before you even go to Wikipedia, you get the gist just from people's Twitter comments. So it's been amusing, I'll say, watching sort of the internet meltdown over the last week over, the recent developments on Game of Thrones, and I don't know, I don't watch the show, but the only thought I have as an outsider is, why didn't they just ask for more episodes to tell the story, because they would have gotten them? Are they just like ready to be done? Is that what you know what I mean? Because this is a shorter season, isn't it, than normal?
Yeah, it's six episodes, and a couple of them are like an hour, 20, 30
But they
minutes.
normally get 10 episodes.
Normally 10, and I feel like I read somewhere that they were offered 10. I mean, why wouldn't HBO give them 10?
If they asked for 20, they would have gotten them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what? It's kind of on them.
Yeah, it's a little curious. And then there was a whole episode that was touted as the battle. Like this, it's an entire battle for an hour and 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And they were a year in advance. They were saying this is the longest night shoot that's ever taken place. Apparently, 11 weeks straight of night shoots to accomplish this.
Wow.
And then I think I had a feeling, sort of like at the end of that movie Fanboys. There's a reference for you. When Phantom Menace is about to start, and they're like, "What if it isn't any good?" I started to think, I'm like, an hour and 20-minute battle. Wait a minute. There needs to be a narrative to this, and if they don't have it, I don't know if this is going to work.
Well,
and
did
sure
they have
enough, I don't know.
No?
People weren't too high on it. I was starting to feel there was the last episode. I thought they accomplished the whole hour 20-minute sort of battle better than they did in the one that they were touting as the one to end all battles.
Okay,
but anyway.
It
had more of an arc to it, is the thing. It had a progression, people doing this, and then they had to advance, and then they had to retreat. Like, there was sort of an arc to it, and the other one felt a little bit like they had... Sorry, this is a little in the weeds, but for the people who watched it, I hope they can appreciate this. It almost felt like they had some really awesome, spectacular moments, but then they captured their leads on like 4 different corners of the set, just swinging their swords back and forth, and just kept cutting to them, like swinging their swords in the same spot. And I was like, but we're not advancing. And then of course the ending was kind of cool, but yeah, I don't know. I felt kind of bad. I mean, the crew worked so hard on that, and then people were criticizing that it was too dark, and they couldn't see it on
heard
televisions.
That. Yeah, I heard those criticisms. Yeah.
So mostly when it was over, I kind of felt bad for the crew that worked so hard on it.
I know. Yeah. Well, and my understanding is that like if your TV, like your 4K TV, was tuned the right way, it would have been fine.
I think I've heard that, and I actually didn't. It didn't even bother me that it was too dark. You know what it was? It was the compression, and I was really relieved to see people complaining to cable companies afterwards, being like, "This is what happens when you like suppress like the broadband kind of thing," and you throw on this compression. There's a word I'm missing, but that's what it looked like. Garbled to me. Because there was a lot of smoke and there was a lot of darkness and a lot of fire, and it just looked like a compressed mess. And in my head, I was like, well, this will look better on Blu-ray.
That makes sense, right? Because you've got cinematographers who are trying to give their thing a cinematic
like
flavor.
Godfather-y.
Yeah. And
dark.
and they don't count on, Comcast or whatever being terrible.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Yeah.
Well, we're like days away from the Game of Thrones finale, so I'm curious. I feel like the internet is just going to collapse into a singularity in the next couple of days, because I just don't see how people walk away happy, which has been my theory all along. I was like, for all the hype there is around this show, I don't see how they stick the landing.
I know, which we'll get to later, but the showrunners of the show are moving on to Star Wars, and it's just funny that Star Wars cannot get a break. It's like, let's announce their next movies at the tail end of Game of Thrones, because everyone's going to be so high on Game of Thrones.
Disney's like, should we do this or Rian Johnson's trilogy? No, Rian Johnson's is a little too controversial.
Yeah.
Let's take the safe choice. God damn it.
I know.
Kathy Kennedy you see her just throwing her papers in the air and just storming off.
They just can't win.
Have you seen anything else lately?
Yeah. I saw a long shot that Seth Rogen, Charlize Theron. I guess it's a romantic comedy.
It's another in the line of Seth Rogen is the sexiest man alive movies.
I thought it was kind of I should start this by saying I'm a Seth Rogen fan. I like what Seth Rogen does. And even like his sort of lower tier movies, he brings this sort of energy and charm that I just respond to. Like, he just makes me chuckle. So that's why I felt compelled to go out and see this. And this was like counter programming, because in front of Avengers, when you and I watched Avengers, remember there was a little PSA for this. Oh yeah, Seth Rogen talking to camera.
Yeah, talking about, he's like, okay, you're about to watch the Avengers, so now once you watch that, go see Long Shot.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I thought it was fine. It's fun. I think it aims to have a bit more of a story.
Sure.
Than, say like a Pineapple Express or something, and measuring it against that, I feel like it didn't go as far as it could, and I would have enjoyed if it had pushed that a little bit more. Because it's the current Secretary of State, played by Charlize Theron, is thinking about running for president, and she used to babysit Rogen, and now he's a journalist, and she brings him on to punch up her speeches because her humor, when she's polled, people think she's elegant and she's graceful, but she doesn't have a good sense of humor. So he's brought in to punch up her speeches a little bit, and then they kind of rekindle something that they felt a little bit when they were kids. And it poses some interesting things. And like I was saying, it reminded me, I was like, is this our generation's American president? Because if it is, I don't know how I feel about that. Because you have the inevitable scene where, they're on Molly for some reason, and,
right.
And walking in slow motion in a club to rap music, and just because that's like a thing that has to happen in every movie now. But and there's like some random like pop culture references that, this is gonna make me sound like a snob, but it reminded me of that episode when Homer had the crayon taken out of his brain and he's watching that Julia Roberts movie, and they're like, "Don't go there," because there's a part at the end where something good happens, and his friend out of nowhere just goes, "Wakanda forever." And I was like, "What?" It made no sense, and the whole theater was laughing. I was like, "You're just laughing because you recognize it. It makes no sense." But that said, that's just me being like thinking too much. I still had a good time. It's funny. It's silly. It's if you're looking for something easygoing or a good rental, it's a totally fun rental. I think,
sounds like a rental.
Yeah. And then lastly, this has come up, I think, on one of the commentaries or something, or maybe Avengers, but I watched Willow.
Okay.
Which it only took 31 years. I think I was a little young. My parents thought it'd be kind of scary for me. So I saw like the books maybe, and I was kind of familiar with the images of it, and I just somehow missed it, right?
Yeah.
So 31 years later, I finally happened upon it, and I watched it. And very briefly, I'll say I enjoyed it, actually. I thought the first half was a little slow.
Yeah.
And I felt a little distracted. But then the second half kicks in, and I was really into it. I thought, Willow and the Mad Mardigan character were like kind of a fun duo. And
Han Soligan, as I call him.
Yes. Oh, it is Star Wars to a T, for sure. But the adventure was fun, and even with their limited resources in terms of effects, I still found it really rousing, and it has that Lucas-esque thing where there's like 3 different things going on at once during the third act, climax, and it's really thrilling. And I was like, when it was over, I was like, that was a blast. So then, like a day or two after I watch it, I find out that they're thinking about bringing it back.
Yeah.
As a Disney
in
Plus.
POG form. Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, the thing about bringing it back from John Kasdan, the writer of Solo, as a Disney Plus sequel series.
Yes.
And I was like, what are the friggin' odds? Like,
I know.
Just watch this
The
thing.
universe was waiting for you. You, like, uncorked the whatever mojo was in the universe.
The Willowverse?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's funny. Isn't that kind of weird? Anyway, so then recently, on the show and in real life, I had recently rewatched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and I was talking on the show, and I was talking to some people. I'm like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is a great movie. And I think, if you have kids looking for a movie you haven't shown them yet, I think they'll really dig it. And I think, that should even be referenced when you're trying to think of a movie to make for people and kids now. I mean, it's a good reference. It's a great movie. And then, like, the next day, it's announced that they're making a sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Yeah. And I'm like, I need to shut up.
Yeah, I think you need to cancel your Manimal rewatch for this movie. That's what I think. You don't know what forces you're tampering with.
Well, and it's not such a bad thing that these things are going to happen, but I just saying maybe I need to be the one who says them to these people, the executives, so I can write these.
So you can cash out. Yeah, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is certainly the first one is just, it is both that and Willow, actually, and they both came out within a year of each other. I mean, they are so quintessentially 80s, and what I mean by that is they're like at the very tail end of the era where fantasy had limitations.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Practical limitations, budgetary limitations, and so there's a tactile feeling to the whole thing, but also they tend to have premises, and this is, I'm quoting myself, you can get your arms around. Willow is not a blue beam into the sky movie.
Yes, it feels it's like we're at this castle, we're being attacked, protect ourselves. Yeah. Like there's not craziness going on in the sky. That's a great example, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a shock that, it's been long enough now where you've got all the generations that grew up with them want to kind of put their own mark on those properties. And I've watched both of these with my kids recently, and they were entirely engaged. So they still work for what they are. And I mean, again, it's like you have to couch that for what they are.
Oh, sure.
But I mean, there is value there, and we can be cynical about it, be like, oh, geez, here they go again. It's like, yeah, but I mean, why not? The premises still have some juice in them.
Yeah, I mean, especially Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. That came out when I was 9. And I remember that really capturing my imagination, like the thought of sort of being without your parents and on this larger-than-life, literally, adventure, with your friends. And it's funny because it's just about kids having to get across their backyard. So you throw, like, lawnmowers and all the, bees and all sorts of real stuff, but you make it fantastical. And it's a really genius idea. So yeah. I'm curious what they'll end up doing with it. Apparently it's going to be about the boy now grown up, played by Josh Gad,
which I can already imagine what that looks like.
Yeah. So
not in a bad way. Just like, oh, okay, I can see it.
I think it's nice. We've talked about this. Like, I mean, they've sort of cut out the sort of PG kid movie quadrant. Yeah. These days, and so I like that. This seems like sort of a younger set sort of thing that parents could hopefully kind of enjoy with them.
Well, speaking of PG kid movies, Quadrant, thank you for setting me up. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah,
I watched Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
I am so curious.
This was, I had to watch it because we were going to talk about it on the show, and then after I watched it, you were like, "Yeah, I'm not watching it," and I was like, "Well, screw you, Brian Hall." I was like dedicated. I was like, "I gotta go." Obviously, the show is a priority. So I dragged my 8-year-old with me. I'm like, partially to give him like the afternoon out, but mainly so that I could have like a human decoder.
Sure, yeah.
You know? So I'm like, every few minutes, I'm like tugging his sleeve, like, "Hey, who's that guy?" And he's like, "Shh." He's like doing that to me, you know?
It's like the reverse.
Yeah. You know? There was a lot of
Hey,
that.
son, what's a dwibble dwarf?
Yeah.
You know? He's like,
I
"Dad,
literally,
not now."
we get in the van afterwards, we sit down, I'm like, okay. So he's in the back, he's behind me, I'm like facing forward. I'm like, okay, so what's the difference between a Charizard and a Charmander? I don't understand this, you know. The thing is, obviously, you and I were not remotely part of the Pokemon generation.
I know literally zero about it, except I know what Pikachu is.
You know what's funny is 20 years ago, myself and Paul Shirey, we went and watched Pokemon, the first animated movie, at the cheap show. I think it was like the Ogden 6 in the Chicago suburbs. Paul, of course, our frequent guest, he's the editor-in-chief at JoeBlow.com. He was working at the Downers Grove TV, and I was just hanging out with him that afternoon. He's like, "Hey, you want to go see the Pokemon movie?" I was like, "All right." And so we went, you know. And I kid you not, I don't remember a thing about it. Mm-hmm. Like if you ask, or I did not. Let me rephrase. And so yesterday in my class, I was talking about watching the Pokemon movie, and I was explaining like, oh, I mean, I get it that for kids it's a really important deal, and I mentioned watching Transformers the movie, the animated movie, as a kid, and how traumatic that was when Optimus Prime died. Mm-hmm. So one student's like, for me, that was Pokemon the movie. I was like, who dies in Pokemon the movie? And he's like, there's like a scene where Ash, the little kid Ash, you know Ash, right?
Is he the main kid with the baseball cap?
The kid with the baseball hat. So he like turns to stone.
Uh-huh.
And Pikachu is like crying, and all the other Pokemon are crying, and he's like, Pikachu is like pounding this like stone Ash, my student was telling me how he was like crying watching this, and I was like, holy shit! You just like unlocked a memory. Because I remember seeing that in the theater.
Oh, right, because you've seen it, yeah.
I was like, I remember that, and I remember Paul just like busting out laughing.
Yeah.
Right? And this is not to make fun of Pokemon. I'm like,
no, different age.
That's what I'm saying. It's I understand the value that it has to this generation. But again, to me, what's fascinating is, I mean, my 8-year-old loves Pokemon.
Right.
Because it started like at this time after we were into that stuff, and it pretty much just kept going.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right. So anyway, long story short. So here's the first live-action Pokemon movie. It is not based on all that stuff. It's based on a video game called Detective Pikachu from like 3 years ago.
Oh, so this was a game. I didn't even realize this concept already existed.
Yeah, so technically this is like the best video game movie ever made.
Okay, yeah.
Granted, that's a shallow pool.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, you've got Justice Smith, who he was the kid in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. So he's like an accountant, but he lives in a world of like Pokemon, and Pokemon are like all over. I'm not going to explain what Pokemon are, folks. Sorry, hit up Wikipedia. Anyway, so he gets word that his father, who is a detective in Rhyme City, which is where Pokemon and human beings live together in peace. So his father has been killed, so he goes to the city to and he hasn't talked to his father in like forever. And so he goes to get his affects and whatever, and then who does he meet but Pikachu? And Pikachu was his father's partner, and for some reason he can understand when Pikachu talks. No one else can, and Pikachu sounds like Ryan Reynolds. Mm-hmm. So it's like kind of a weird cognitive dissonance when you hear Deadpool's voice coming out of Pikachu.
Yeah, they don't seem to match.
You wouldn't think so, but it's amazing how well it works.
Okay.
He is so good in this, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
And that little Pikachu is the cutest friggin' thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And so he's good, and then you got Bill Nighy, he's like the guy who founded this city or whatever. And so I'm sitting in the theater, I'm watching Bill Nighy, and you know Bill Nighy, right? I mean, he adds credibility to anything.
Mm-hmm.
He could be sitting on the toilet reading the phone book, and you'd be like, give that man an Oscar. Right? And so he's like, in this city we have the Charizard and the Mewtwo, and he's saying all this Pokemon nonsense, right? And I'm like, God damn it, if Bill Nighy can be into this, like he's not winking at the audience.
Right.
He is playing it like he's in Macbeth. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you know what, Bill Nighy, I'm with you, buddy.
Yeah.
If you're into it, so am I,
Yeah.
And so it's that kind of movie. Like I'm not the audience for it, but I can't say I didn't enjoy it. And I was like, oh, it was fun,
See, that sounds like I can watch something just because I love the way it looks.
Yes.
And this looks like a movie I would enjoy watching. Like literally just looking at. I mean, is that sort of it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I think the effects are absolutely seamless.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I mean, I use the word tactile. I mean, it feels tactile.
Right.
They're fully interacting with these digital creations in a way that we're past the point where these things look like effects anymore.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And there's another thought I had was, I mean, there's an element of thought that had to go into taking these animated characters and figuring out how to render them in live action.
Sure, yeah.
Which I think is kind of fascinating. Like, the concept artists had to determine, well, is this scales or fur? Is that, they had to figure that stuff out and still make it look like the thing that you know.
Yeah.
The movie ends in a way, I thought it had a very poignant ending. And the ending really made me be like, oh, okay, I liked this,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to. Well, and what's the sort of tone? I mean, because it looks dark.
I mean, it is, but it's like PG dark. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's trying to do like it's trying to do like a noir detective type thing, but it's a PG kids movie.
Yeah.
I think that the kids who are watching it now will absolutely love it.
Nice.
But I don't think adults will regret spending those 2 hours.
All right.
That's what I would say.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll see it at some point.
Yeah. And real quickly, I just want to mention a brand new documentary that I got to see this past week called What We Left Behind. And this is a crowd-funded documentary by the producer of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. His name is Ira Stephen Bear. So next month, in just a few weeks, marks the 20th anniversary of the finale of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Now, Brian, I don't know if you know this. I'm a Star Trek fan.
I did not.
Yeah, I feel like I need to come out of the closet with that.
This was unexpected.
Unexpected. So I am a Star Trek fan, but I am especially a Star Trek Deep Space Nine fan. And this is the show. This was the spin-off of The Next Generation, so it's like the third Star Trek show, and it's the one that sort of gets forgotten a little bit, And so and I feel like I'm always like saying this, but this is really true. Like when Deep Space Nine ended 20 years ago, I was like, this is the one no one talks about it right now, but eventually, it's going to be a thing. People are going to realize it. People need to come around to it. And so for 20 years, I've been happy to sort of see people realize, like, this is a legit good show. I mean, it presaged so many things that now we think of as peak TV. Heavy serialization and really getting into darker stuff. And just, things like having a black leading actor. Having the captain of a Star Trek show being black, right? We, like you and I, we don't think of that as a big deal, but at the time that was a huge deal.
Right.
It's interesting because it starred Avery Brooks, who he was probably best known for playing the character Hawk on Spencer for Hire.
Okay.
And Avery Brooks, he had a shaved head and a goatee, very intimidating, iconic presence. So when it came time for Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the Paramount people were like, you know what, shave the beard and grow your hair out. And why? Just straight up, they're like, we think you're too intimidating. Like we don't want this guy looking so street.
Wow.
Which, like, you gotta, on one level, it's like, God, that's like ridiculously racist. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they were just out on Front Street with their racism.
Right.
While doing this progressive thing,
Yeah.
And so it's just funny because it took like a couple seasons before Avery Brooks was like, you know what, screw you guys. I'm shaving my head and growing my beard. Like, that's what I do,
Yeah.
And he did. And so the show was this really interesting thing that you can't really call it a forgotten or hidden thing because it's part of the Star Trek franchise, which is, it's like being royalty. Mm-hmm. But even still, it's a show that it gets forgotten about. It doesn't get talked about in the same way. And it tells you everything that the producer of the show had to crowdfund the money to put this documentary together rather than CBS being like, hey, we will pay for this thing that promotes this thing that we own.
Right.
That
we're
tells you
still
everything.
Producing the universe of.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, it had like a one night release a couple nights ago, and it was packed. The whole theater
that's cool.
The whole theater was full, and it was great to just be in this room full of people who are not just Star Trek fans; they were Deep Space Nine fans. Mm-hmm. They were laughing at all the inside jokes and everything, and it was a incredibly engrossing documentary, but also it was very funny and very emotional.
Yeah,
you have these actors talking about the way their lives changed as a result of being on this show. That, again, to me, it's just like it's this little diamond just sort of hidden away inside this mega franchise.
Yeah, I love that the theater was packed. I mean, you got to imagine, like, you could just turn right or left and be like, brother.
Yeah,
you guys are.
It was very cool. So it's if again, and my brother can vouch for this because for 20 years, just about, I've been like, man, you got to watch Deep Space Nine. You got to watch it. And he's like, I will. Like he wasn't anti, it's just he never got around to it. And so he's just now started watching it, like within the past 2 months. And he'll text me like, I just watched this episode. Whoa, oh my God, So it's a great show. So my point is, this documentary is really good. If you have any inclination to check it out, it's going to be out on Blu-ray or whatever in a couple weeks. What We Left Behind. But more importantly, if you're any kind of a Star Trek fan, and you've looked past Deep Space Nine, check it out because it's really worth your time. Not you, Brian, specifically, but I mean just people listening.
Yeah, they have like a present waiting for them. They didn't even see under the tree. Yeah,
it's funny. A couple of years ago, I got to interview Brandon Braga on Nostalgia Theater, and Brandon Braga was a Star Trek producer who created the show Enterprise. Mm-hmm. And that show lasted about 4 seasons, 100 episodes, give or take. And he says this, he's like, because Enterprise is another one of those shows that kind of gets kicked around, and he's like, people tell me they like Star Trek, and I'm always like, well, here's 100 Star Treks that you haven't seen, Mm-hmm. Some will be good, some will be bad, but it's like there's 100 here's 100 more of that thing that you like.
Right.
That are just waiting for you. And I'm like, that's, when you think about it, that's amazing that this franchise offers that. Mm-hmm. After Deep Space Nine came the show Voyager, which I just didn't watch. I was not a big fan of, but I'm going through like a chronological rewatch with the kids. And that's my thought now. It's like, well, we're going to get to Voyager eventually. And I'm like, hey, there's a whole bunch of Star Trek I've never seen,
Yeah.
And that's cool,
That is cool.
So anyway, those are my thoughts on Detective Pikachu. And What We Leave Behind, I think it's going to be on Blu-ray in a few weeks, and it's going to have added features and whatnot. So do check that out. Why don't we take a little break, and then we'll come back right after this. And we're back, and Brian, we got some headlines.
Yes, we do.
So what's been happening?
Well, sadly, we had some people leave us from entertainment world. First off, John Singleton, prolific director, producer. I mean, I think he's probably best known for Boys in the Hood.
Yeah,
It was, seminal and really kicked something off. And it's interesting because I started reading about it. I had seen it, and I rewatched it actually that night just because it had been a while. And it really holds up. I don't know when was the last time you've watched it, but it's a really good movie.
It is, and it's unfortunately it's like the candle that burned brightest so early.
Yeah. I mean, he went on to. I think his producing stuff is pretty interesting. His movies. I mean, he had Poetic Justice, Higher Learning. I remember more for the soundtrack, if I'm being honest. And then what was that other movie? Four Brothers. He did the Shaft remake.
That's right, yeah.
But he also produced Hustle and Flow and Black Snake Moan, which is a movie that I think everyone's kind of forgotten, but kind of interesting.
And Too Fast, Too Furious he did.
Yeah, that's right, which actually is the one I've never seen.
That is sort of the black sheep of that franchise.
Yeah, but what I thought was really interesting about Boys in the Hood was Singleton was in film school, and I think they watched the movie Colors. And he was really annoyed that a movie about, inner city Los Angeles was being told from the police's point of view. And he's like, this is nuts. Like, how are you not telling it from the people's point of view who live there? And so he made Boys in the Hood, and it really kicked off something. I mean, then you had all these movies that followed, like Menace to Society, and it almost kicked off like a genre of like illuminating a part of the country that just hadn't had their story told before,
Yeah, I mean, I think Boys in the Hood launched Ice Cube's career as a dramatic actor.
Yeah. Apparently because of course he was huge as a rap star from NWA and his solo work, but he apparently kept turning it down because he didn't think he could do it. And Singleton's like, no. And it's funny because now, I mean, we probably know Ice Cube better as an actor. Yeah,
well, my kids know him as the Are We There Yet guy.
Right.
If that doesn't tell you everything about the trajectory of the revolutionary,
Yeah, right.
But yeah, Cuba Gooding Jr., I think he got his start in Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood, yeah.
A lot of, I mean, God, Lawrence Fishburne, so many people are in that movie. It is a seminal movie that feels weirdly forgotten.
Yeah, I think it's like people of our vintage, I think, will immediately recognize the poster.
Yes.
And obviously we know like the title and everything, but yeah, it's not something you see replayed a lot.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. And it's funny too, a little tidbit that I found fascinating was Cuba Gooding Jr. He plays like an 18-year-old or 17-year-old, and he's like 22, something like that in the movie. And Lawrence Fishburne is like his wizened father who's always giving him advice. And he was only like 29 or something, or 32 or something. Yeah, he wasn't that much older than him.
They make fun of that in the movie Don't Be a Menace to South Central. Have you seen that movie?
I have. Yeah, I've kind of forgotten it, but
yeah, it's you have Sean Wayans is like the young, full of optimism kid who comes back to the hood, and he moves in with his dad who is younger than him.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, because I was thinking, it's. I didn't think it was overtly obvious because of the gravitas that Lawrence Fishburne brings to anything.
Right.
Like if he was, 15 years younger than me and he told me to sit down and listen, I'd be like, yes, sir.
If he started rattling off Pokemon names, I'd buy
it. Right. He just brings that, That's so funny.
So John Singleton, he will be missed. He was he left a mark, whether people know the name, they know his work.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. He carved a new path for a lot of people. And then also we lost Peter Mayhew, the man who played Chewbacca the Wookiee since the 70s. He had since, I think, handed over the mantle to someone else, but was because of his physical limitations. He had knee problems and things like that. But I believe he was involved all the way up until his passing, right?
He was the Wookiee advisor, I think, right through Solo, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, yeah. And then I know at least in Force Awakens, I think he was from the waist up if he was in a seat or
for
something.
a few. Yeah, I mean, Force Awakens was like 50-50. It was Peter Mayhew, and then Eunice Sumoto. Is that
I'm not sure.
the current Chewbacca?
Yeah.
But Force Awakens was sort of his passing the torch. Yeah.
Yeah. But apparently he. Yeah, good.
No, I just want to say, I mean, it's easy to be cynical and be like, oh well, whatever, anybody can play that. Like, it's just a guy in a suit, right? And yet you realize how much character he brought to Chewie, and there's no better exemplar of that than the fact. I think I've said this on the commentaries that we've done, where even now we don't see a guy in a suit; we just see Chewbacca.
Yes.
The clinical part of your mind recognizes, well, that's not real. That's a costume.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't think, you skip right past that.
It's insane to me that I've never really thought about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that shows the warmth that Peter Mayhew brought to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep, and for it seems by all accounts he was a really, really lovely person in real life, and really celebrated the fandom of it all. And apparently, even on Reddit, he would, like, if random things would pop up in comment sections or whatever, he just randomly come in and be like, "Oh yeah, and compliment someone or say some Star Wars tidbit and just be like, "Cheers, Peter." Like, he just loved being stirring amongst the fans. And
I mean, I think when you think about it, right? Like Peter Mayhew with his enormous height, the career options in Hollywood would have been fairly limited for him. Mm-hmm. George Lucas gave him immortality.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you know what I mean? Peter Mayhew will never be forgotten.
Yep.
And that's amazing, It's very heartwarming.
Yeah, and it's nice. It's nice. Also, I mean, this doesn't happen for a lot of people, but you have a role like this, and you could become some sort of face behind a table at a convention somewhere, in Tustin or something, Yeah. But like, people loved and celebrated him the entire rest of his life, and what a gift.
Yeah, exactly. I remember going to WonderCon back when it was here. I went with my wife, so this would have been like 2005, 2006. And he was outside just like smoking a cigarette. And I was like, that's Peter Mayhew.
Yeah.
It's very, it's like a sighting in the wild,
Yeah, that's amazing.
Another person who just passed away yesterday is Tim Conway.
That's right, yeah.
The legendary Tim Conway, and he's obviously best known for having been on the Carol Burnett show. Carol Burnett show probably is not something you watched.
It was something that was on like U62,
Sure.
at like 10 at night. So actually, I'm familiar with a few sketches. Like, I think it would probably be on between something I was looking for.
See, they used to show the Carol Burnett show in Saudi Arabia. So I watched it a lot. So you had Tim Conway, you had Harvey Korman, and they would do these sketches, and Tim Conway had the unerring ability to just make Harvey Korman crack up in the middle of a sketch. And I was just reading about this. Once you see people break in a sketch, you can't help but laugh. And I was reading about how obviously if you're a sketch comedy writer, that's very frustrating.
Sure.
Because it's like ruining the sketch. But what I was reading is that they would do, they would film like the rehearsal, and then they would do the live one in front of the audience. And so they would get like the clean version, mm-hmm. which is still very funny. And Tim Conway would ask the director, like, did you get it? Did you get one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it. And then he would set about trying to make Harvey Korman crack up. So now the editors have the choice. They've got the clean version, which is still very funny, or the Harvey Korman cracking up version, which is, the audience is going to love that even more.
Right.
And so they would inevitably go to that version.
Right.
And you can see this stuff on YouTube. It is hilarious where you see Harvey Korman just trying to hold it in,
Yeah.
And Tim Conway was just one of these guys who was just funny. Like there wasn't a thing he couldn't say that didn't sound funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know, first time I ever saw him was even before the Carol Burnett show. There's a movie which like nobody remembers. It's called They Went That Away and That Away, and it's him and Chuck McCann, and they play these two. They're like police officers who've been they're undercover in a prison because they're trying to find out some whatever, like they need to figure something out, and the only person who knows that they're undercover in the prison is the warden, who dies suddenly. So now they're stuck in prison, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a scene where like the person who's sort of running the prison, he needs like oral surgery, and Tim Conway's character, like his fake CV says that he went to dental school.
Yeah.
So they have him come and do or attempt to do like oral surgery on this thing, and I mean it goes predictably sideways, and it's like a variation of a skit that he did on the Carol Burnett show. I found out he ends up like injecting his own arm with the anesthetic, and like just cascading comedy of errors. And I don't even know how old I was, but I mean, it's one of those things where you're watching it and your stomach is hurting. You're laughing so hard,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I mean, here was somebody who just gave the world joy for as long as he was around. That's what he was known for just making you laugh.
Yep. I mean, some people just have it in their bones.
Yeah.
They just sort of feels like I'm sure there's people like that now, but you just think of these people who are on like Carson or something, growing up, and it's like they weren't even promoting anything. You just brought them out because they just were pure entertainment.
Yeah. And that was Tim Conway. So it is sad to see so many of that generation of comics just gone now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Harvey Korman's been gone for a while, but like Dom DeLuise and Don Rickles and all. You know what I mean? Like these are names that I knew growing up.
Right.
And it is just the same. So just I don't know. We'll miss you, Tim Conway.
Yeah.
Anything else going on?
This is a bit of an older story, but it's worth just bringing up because it's so darn entertaining. Sonic the Hedgehog and his weird friggin' design. I think from moment one, I think they just did a teaser poster with his legs, and people were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because they look kind of humanoid, so it's a little disturbing. And then when they finally released the trailer and we saw the full body, he had human teeth. His eyes looked not as large as we're used to.
It was a lot of that.
Yeah, well, his body, he looked like someone in a suit. Like it was like a humanoid body, and it was a little disturbing because you're like, if you're going to have this goofy, blue, furry cartoon hedgehog, make him look like a cartoon,
Make him look
what
like
we're
Sonic.
used to. So
it looked like an escapee from a genetics lab or something.
Yes. And then some, man's like, my boy.
Yeah.
Like transform someone's son. But what's kind of interesting is that there was so much internet outrage.
Yeah.
And so many memes popping up that the filmmakers were like, okay, got it. They actually put out a, let's see, who is it? Is this the visual effects guy, I think?
I thought it was the director.
The director? Okay. Director Jeff Fowler put out a tweet, literally says, thank you for the support and the criticism. Message is loud and clear. You aren't happy with the design and you want changes. It's going to happen. Everyone at Paramount Sega fully committed to making this character the best he can be. And then I love the hashtag, gotta fix it fast. But I mean, that cannot be cheap. And is this the first time we've seen a studio go, oh, crap. Okay. Yeah, sure. We'll fix the whole movie for you.
Yeah,
Internet?
I mean, certainly after a trailer has already come out.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of amazing they didn't think of this in the first place.
That's, like, if you look at the design, you have to be like, well, that doesn't look ideal,
Yeah.
I don't think people want a human-looking Sonic the Hedgehog. I think they want something that's a reasonable... I mean, I got to say, Brian, why can't it be like Pokemon?
I mean...
There's a sentence I never thought I'd say like a week ago,
But yeah, and apparently, I mean, that hit. It did pretty well.
When you look at the what they did in Pokemon, where they took the animated character and found a way to fully manifest it in live action in a way that feels completely seamless in a live action environment, that's absolutely what they should have done with Sonic the Hedgehog. But that being said, let's take a step backward and acknowledge that no one was asking for a Sonic the Hedgehog movie to begin with.
See, this is the thing I don't know. I didn't have a Sega. I'm a Mario guy. I know Sonic, and I'm like, cool, all right. But I don't know how much this is going to move the needle for people. Like, is there like this whole fan base out there that is now like, phew? Like, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to open. So I'm curious.
I mean, I'll be shocked if it's a hit.
Mm-hmm.
I like seeing James Marsden. I'm glad that he's doing something. Jim Carrey is like full 1998 Jim Carrey, which is nice.
Which I like.
I have no problem with that. So
sure.
Hey, and you know what? Obviously, this is the mantra of our show. I'd rather see the good version of this than the bad version.
Yeah.
That being said, the trailer does not give me hope that it will be the good version, but I suppose I'll be seeing it. I know I'll be seeing it.
Yeah, I'll be really curious. I mean, your kids even know who Sonic the Hedgehog is?
They do, because they, we have the Nintendo emulator, which has the Sega, which has all the Sega games on it. So they've played. I mean, they know, and they've watched the cartoon and everything, so they know Sonic.
Okay.
But again, my 10-year-old that was his honest reaction.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like when he saw the Will Smith genie. So, a little bit of that actually. The reaction is very similar.
Yeah, Genie feels a little too late, but
yeah, and that's Disney was like, whatever, we're gonna get your money anyway. So
yeah, and then actually that Prince Ali song came out yesterday, and people were reacting not too kindly to that.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. Well, actually, while we're talking about songs, this is the one thing more than even the design of Sonic. Probably the weirdest needle drop I've ever seen is "Gangster's Paradise."
Yeah.
In the Sonic trailer.
Yeah. I don't know what they were going for with that.
That was kind of weird.
Yeah. You know what's funny, by the way? I was talking to a coworker who's a bit younger than me, and I was talking about Dangerous Minds, and they didn't know what it was.
Really?
And I was like, wow, Dangerous Minds is like an artifact now. Isn't that funny?
It is funny. I saw a tweet by Weird Al. I don't know if you saw this. He says, "I'm not sure how comfortable I am with them using a parody of Amish Paradise in the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer."
That's pretty funny.
I love Weird Al.
I love him.
Yeah. So I don't know. Well, I don't even know when this movie comes out.
I feel like it's like a Thanksgiving thing.
Oh, okay. So they got their work cut out for them, is what that means.
Oh man, some poor people are gonna be working weekends on this thing.
A lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah.
Well. Speaking of sleepless nights, have you suffered any sleepless nights with word that Cinemia is shutting down?
Oh, Zachy.
Wait, we got to play the music.
Yeah. So, as listeners of the show know, I was a Movie Pass guy. Excuse me, I'm going to light a cigarette. Movie Pass had this genius idea, and they weren't the first, but they had this idea of you pay a subscription a month, and you get to see X amount of movies. And it's a great idea. And, other AMC started their A-list thing, which is great. And apparently
Century has their own thing now, too.
Yeah, and I guess Cinemia had been around even before Movie Pass. But when Movie Pass folded because they just couldn't keep up and they just crumbled spectacularly. Cinemia was the same sort of thing. Like, look, you pay, $11, $12 a month, and you can see, 3 or 4 movies or something like that. And I'm like, that's great, because that saves me tons of money, and I'm going to see probably about 3 movies a month due to the nature of our show and whatnot. And so and it was going great. But then they started having these little hiccups. And then they started wanting you to send in proof of your identity. And then they started buffering. And I thought it was my phone or whatnot, but then I saw everyone was having these problems where you couldn't even get your tickets anymore. And then all of a sudden, all the Cinemia members got an email that said, so Cinemia is shutting down effective immediately.
I think the email was, hey, Brian Hall, Cinemia is shutting down.
Well, my favorite part is the words effective immediately. There's something so dramatic about that. I was like, what happened? And apparently, I don't know if this is everything, but a big part of it is so you pay your monthly dues, but when you bought your ticket, every now and then they would say, are you okay with this additional theater charge? So apparently, your theater adds $1.50 charge like you would when you're ordering a pizza, and they add some sort of delivery charge that isn't the tip, right?
Okay.
So it's annoying, but on the other hand, I'm like, it's $1. or like $1.50, and I'm still saving money doing this. So it didn't really bother me. And everything has a surcharge now, so I was sort of used to it. But so many people were annoyed by this that they were suing Cinemia. And they didn't have the money or the whatever to sustain this lawsuit. And so they eventually had to just, shut down. So a little frustrating for me. Like, actually, the Detective Pokemon, probably would have seen it by now if I had Cinemia. But now I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm going to keep up with the show, of course. Yeah. But with this one, we knew it wasn't going to be a centerpiece of the show. I was like, well, I'll catch it eventually. So a little frustrating.
So this goes to what I've said before, right? These services like MoviePass, like Cinemia, what they've done is they've made it. What they've actually done is kicked money into AMC, like the chains, AMC Century, because both of those chains have taken the idea that was road tested by these other companies and internalized it.
Right.
And created a framework where it can be profitable for them in a way it wouldn't be for MoviePass, etc.
It would seem, right? Because I mean, they did just up their price recently, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it was like $20. I think it's going to be like $23 now. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So I mean, it seems like if anything's going to last, it's probably the version run by the theaters. But I'm sure they're even still figuring out how to make this profitable.
I mean, the way I look at it, even I'm willing to go as high as $30 a month.
I would too. I'd still save money.
Exactly, right? Given how many movies I watch, that's still like I just need to watch 3 movies a month, and I'm even.
I paid $20 or maybe even $21 to see Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So that's I don't know what it's like all over the country, but that's what I'm dealing with out here.
Yeah.
So
yeah. If
I mean,
you want to watch
this
IMAX,
service is a good deal.
Yeah, I mean, I got my AMC A-List membership right before watching Mission Impossible Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it was $19.50 for that versus $19.99 for the membership.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
By the way, actually, I should mention this. I download commentary tracks onto my phone. So sometimes I'll just be like listening to a commentary, separately from the movie, obviously. So last night I was like listening to the Mission Impossible Fallout commentary, and I like fell asleep listening to it. Yeah. So this is real. I'm like in my dream, I'm hanging out with Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise as they are watching the movie and talking about it.
Yeah.
So I'm in the middle. And I'm like, hey, well, what about this? And they keep like ignoring me and talking over me. And it's because the commentary is playing.
See, that's funny because for me, the Inceptor has become the Incepted.
Right.
We've told this story very briefly. I've stayed at Zachy's place before, and he has messed with me while I'm sleeping by playing music over me while I'm sleeping, trying to see if he can mess with my dreams.
That was literally happening to me last night. It was so funny because I woke up and I realized what had happened. I was like, oh, okay.
That's pretty funny.
I'm like, but hey, Tom, what about when you did? Okay. Like I'm doing a lot of that. I'm sitting in the middle. So imagine them on either side of me.
Yeah.
Just watching the movie and just having a great old conversation,
Yeah.
So I based on what I was hearing in my dream, it's a really good commentary track. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Actually, I actually bought the Blu-ray for the behind the scenes specifically because I wanted to watch all of it. I still haven't got around to it.
There you go. Yeah, I have the digital version, so it has all the behind the scenes stuff. Mm-hmm. But commentaries are not always made available. So I like. I try to download commentaries whenever I can because it's just. I don't know how much longer they're going to last.
Yeah, and when they're good, I mean, they're very good.
When they're good.
Sometimes they really they answer all the questions you had. They're kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Can be.
They can be, yeah. What else, Brian? What else is going
on? Well, James Bond 25, it took a while to get to shooting, and they finally get to shooting, and Daniel Craig injured himself on set.
God damn it,
so
Dan.
Now it's been delayed, but apparently he's injured himself on every single movie.
Yeah, I was reading about how he broke his teeth on Casino Royale. He cut off a piece of his finger on one of the other ones.
Quantum of Solace, yeah.
Quantum Solid. So you know what's funny is after I think Spectre, where people are like, oh, are you going to do another one? He's like, I'd rather slit my wrists or whatever he said.
Oh, I didn't even think about attributing it to this. Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably fed up with getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, he's like, dude, I'm 50 years old, man. I don't need to keep busting my knee.
He is 51.
51.
So it's understandable that he's ready to pack it in. I think the movie is being directed by the True Detective guy, right?
Fukunaga?
Cary Fukunaga.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because if I'm not mistaken, that's like the first time an American has directed a James Bond movie.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I'm fairly certain that's the case. I'm sure somebody who knows this stuff better than me would correct me, but I feel like that's true.
You know what else I saw in here that I found very surprising is Phoebe Waller-Bridge was brought in to punch up the script.
I saw that too. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, what I've read is that supposedly, I mean, they haven't even revealed the title of the movie. Mm-hmm. I think originally it was going to be Rise of Skywalker, and now they're scrambling.
And they're like, damn it.
Damn it. What I've read is supposedly it's about James Bond like being retired and he has to come out of retirement. And I'm like, that's like 2/3 of Daniel Craig's movies.
Is it really?
It's like the first one is him like, hey, I'm a brand new agent. And then the second one, all right, I'm retired now. That's what it feels like, you know?
Oh, is it? Oh, that's funny.
Certainly Skyfall was like that, if you remember. Because Skyfall, the premise of that movie, remember he's been off the grid for a little while. And then he comes back in and it's like, oh, you know, the world has moved on, Bond. And it's like, dude, he's been doing this for like 4 years. Come on.
That's pretty funny.
But they're bringing back, what's his name, Jeffrey Wright as Felix Leiter. And I don't know what the hell. They've got a challenge ahead of them because what do they do next after Daniel Craig?
Yeah, I mean, well, they've been doing it, right? So I mean, eventually you find a. I mean, he seems like Casino Royale felt like a response to The Dark Knight a little bit, or at least that sort of gritty, grounded realism of the 2000s, early 2000s. So you wonder whatever the next sort of.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem that they have in front of them. If they cast another, you know, mid-30s white guy, woke Twitter, woke internet is going to explode.
Sure.
There's you know, and oh, why isn't James Bond a woman now? Why isn't James Bond a person of color? You're going to get all that. And I don't know what their way out of that is. Because if you ask me, and maybe I'm setting myself up here for trouble, but if you are continuing on from where Daniel Craig leaves, you have to cast another white guy.
Wait, what do you mean when you say continuing on from where he leaves?
See, I'm phrasing it very carefully. If you are rebooting from scratch, do whatever the hell you want.
Sure. I see.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If Daniel Craig leaves and then 3 years later, 4 years later, here's next guy, but oh, remember that time in Casino Royale?
Right.
Then
Yes.
It's got to be a white guy. Sorry.
Right.
Because race is not interchangeable.
Right.
I mean, seriously, I've had this conversation many times over the last several years, and it truly is like walking through a minefield.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let me put it this way. Felix Leiter, the character of Felix Leiter, has been in a shit ton of Bond movies before Casino Royale. And he was played by a white guy.
Right.
He's in the very first. He's in Dr. No. And he's played by Jack Lord from Hawaii Five-0. But now, this version of Felix Leiter is Jeffrey Wright. So when Jeffrey Wright leaves, if they are continuing on, they need to find another black guy.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I'm following you.
Yeah. So again, it truly, it's like trying to cross razor wire, you know?
Right. Right.
Because you get accused of all kinds of stuff, and it's like that. So my point is, the Bond producers, you don't think they're cognizant of this?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Right. That and what I always say is like James Bond is not Doctor Who.
Right.
Because Doctor Who, whenever they change that character, the character regenerates. That's written into the myth. It can become any kind of person or woman.
Right.
You can't do that with James Bond.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So this untitled or unrevealed title, Bond 25, is supposed to come out in like next March, I think.
April 8th, 2020.
April 8th. Okay, so about a year from now.
Yeah. Isn't Rami Malek in this thing?
He's the villain. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They got a good cast,
Yeah.
In addition to the guest cast, they have a good like recurring cast.
Yeah, Ralph Fiennes.
Rafe Fiennes.
Rafe Fiennes, Ralph Fiennes, Rafe Fiennes.
Ralph.
I think I'm looking at a typo actually that I'm reading.
No, it's spelled Ralph, but it's
Is it? Oh, see, I don't know, man.
You didn't know that, really?
As soon as you said it, I was like, oh yeah. It's like Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just one that I've said out loud more often, so I'm used to it.
It's really it's the it's like the guy who played Mr. Fantastic in those not this most recent one, the previous two movies, where his what I'm talking about, right, from Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah.
His name is just like somebody threw a bunch of consonants at the wall. Right? If you read it,
yeah,
it's like Ioaoion.
Right.
But how do you pronounce that? Oh, Yoan.
Right.
Well, just spell it that way.
Or it's like Jeff. Pronounce Jeff. Yeah.
John. Like, well, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Rafe Fiennes is, of course, he is M, and we got what's his name? Paddington is Q. What's his name? Ben Whishaw.
Oh, Paddington? Is he Paddington?
He's Paddington.
Huh.
You need to watch those Paddington movies.
I know.
Yeah.
There's
no shame, Brian. Just sit down.
No, I know. I've heard they're amazing.
Yeah. You watch them both. You will enjoy them.
All right.
And while I leave you to schedule your time watching those, why don't we take another break, and then we can come back and wrap up with some Star Wars news.
Cool.
And we're back. Brian, I hear some music playing, so I feel like it's been a while since we've had Star Wars news. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a while since we've had Star Wars news, honestly, until the trailer, right? And then now it's sort of the influx again. But let's go with a little more tumultuous news up front. We have Disney addressing the fact that maybe there may be such a thing as Star Wars fatigue.
Yes.
And they're realizing it. They're addressing it. Bob Iger has called it out. And so he's saying that they have a plan to let Star Wars breathe for about 3 years after Episode 9 comes out this holiday season, which I think is a good idea.
I think it's a very good idea.
Yeah. And but they confirmed what's going to follow that is the next trilogy, which is not a Skywalker trilogy, which is coming from the Game of Thrones showrunners, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. So about a couple months ago, I think people were pretty hot on that. You know what? I think they're interesting storytellers. I think they have a few disadvantages. I think they should not be sold short for what they have accomplished in translating Game of Thrones to television.
Right.
But I do think that once they lost the roadmap, the very, very detailed roadmap that George R.R. Martin set up for them, it was noticeable the lack of nuance and, like I said earlier, patience in the storytelling that had preceded it because they had this map. And so I think it gives people a little concern, well, what happens when they don't have a map? So, I don't know, it remains to be seen, but I do still feel that they are, they did still bring those earlier seasons to television, and I think they are gifted storytellers. So I also say this as someone who now is like, you know what, Star Wars can be good and Star Wars can be mediocre. So, all right, well, I we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. And if it's cool, awesome. And if it's not, that's a bummer.
Yeah, what the hell, right? I think I don't know Game of Thrones. I've never seen it, right? So
Yeah.
I can't speak to what they've how things end up, but it's no small feat to build a world like this.
Mm-hmm.
the way that they've done, and to make it. I mean, the fact that people know the shorthand, they know Westeros, they know, like to really capture the monoculture at a time when we don't really have a monoculture anymore. That's impressive.
Yes.
So, as with all of these things, I mean, yeah, it could go in a lot of directions. I mean, I think I would prefer an even longer wait.
I don't know. 3 years feels like a good minimum.
I mean, to me, it's less about Benioff and Weiss. David Benioff, by the way, is married to Amanda Peet. I just found that out.
Huh.
That's an interesting factoid. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's less about them and more about what does Star Wars have to say once you're done telling the Skywalker story.
Yes, because there are Star Wars, I think, hits so many people because it's very primal, right? Like there's this sort of, I mean, Lucas, it's so famous that he looked at mythology over all of like human history basically and sort of tapped into that, and there's like a hero rising and a darkness that can be rescued or saved or triumphed over, and there's a spirituality to it, and there's family, and there's just so much. And yeah, I wonder, once you leave the Skywalker saga, if you just make it like a war film, straight war film, or just
I mean, here's my concern, right? Because when I look at the last 30 years of Star Wars fiction, anything that did not explicitly connect with my characters was not interesting to me.
Agreed. And I know it's not the case for everybody, but
it's right.
I agree with you.
And this is just my perspective. And when I say my characters, I don't even mean like, oh, it's got to be about Luke, Han, and Leia. I mean even like their specific struggle. Right? So like the Star Wars Rebels I dig, right? Because that's part of this thing that I get and I like. Mm-hmm. It's tied in with the rebellion versus the Empire, right? So the further removed from that, the more it's just like, well, it's just a bunch of people in space. What makes it Star Wars? Mm-hmm. And I don't know what that is. It's not a rhetorical question. I'm like, what is Star Wars? Mm-hmm. How many things can you strip away? It's like I'm reminded of when we did our Dark Knight commentary. And to me, that was what was most interesting about that film, is how you can take this away, you can take this away, you can take away the Bat Cave, you can take away this, but it's still Batman. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know what Star Wars is once you take everything else away. Mm-hmm. What makes Star Wars? Like Star Trek, I can tell you. Star Wars, I can't. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I think there are things that need to be present. I think Star Wars is optimistic. And I know that Game of Thrones can be a little relentless and, pessimistic in some ways, or nihilistic maybe. And I don't really want to see nihilism in my Star Wars, if I'm being honest. There should be darkness, and there should be, dark nights, so to speak, but there should also be dawns, and there should be triumphing, and ultimately good tries hard and triumphs. That's Star Wars to me, I think.
Another thing to me is Star Wars was a finite thing.
Yes.
And this is obviously an ongoing discussion. When you make it an ongoing concern, are you taking away something that makes Star Wars uniquely Star Wars? Mm-hmm. Again, that idea of like, well, they should just stop making it. I mean, that's not realistic, obviously.
Yes, at this point, yeah.
It's just not. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I would rather see... I don't want to see it fizzle out. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But I mean, I do feel like for a long, long, long time, even with the prequels, I think people were saying, well, I've got my trilogy. My trilogy isn't going anywhere. Yeah. And I think I have finally found the comfort to say that and mean it. So I've seen
that's
Star Wars...
truly how I've felt, even with these sequels,
Yeah. And, I like them. I don't love them like I do the originals. And I've grown comfortable with the idea of that now because it's a train that it can't be stopped. And I hope they keep making things I enjoy, but I'm probably never going to feel about the new ones the way that I do about the old.
Right.
And I still do feel that way about the old ones, so I'm all right.
So here's, and we made this comparison already, but the distinction between Star Wars and the MCU is the MCU, the diversity of visions is the draw.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you can have Ant-Man, and that still feels like a Marvel movie. You can have Avengers Endgame, and that still feels like a Marvel movie, even though tonally the two are very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
So, in other words, the Marvel people have been very smart in casting a very wide net, where everything still feels of a piece. I think the problem we're seeing with Star Wars is, and we've addressed this before, but like Solo, which was good and felt different, but from a very superficial level, it just looks like another Star Wars movie. Yeah,
I think Rogue One is an interesting glimpse into what could be. Where you can have this sort of spy game sort of thing in space.
Yes, but I think the level of success that movie achieved is, it sort of it blinds us a little bit because was it a success because of what it is, or because of sort of being the next Star Wars out the gate?
Yeah, and it came hot off what we were just talking about as the highest domestic grossing. So
there was
movie
a lot
of all time.
There was a lot of good buzz, goodwill.
Yeah, I think Star Wars will always be popular, but I think if they're expecting, billion-dollar movies inevitably every time, I think they're.
I think you and I even said like Episode 7 was like a once in a lifetime. It's never going to be like that again, ever.
No.
No. So that's sort of like TBD. You have to put a pin in that conversation.
Yeah, and I also wonder, now that I think about it, I mean, like I said, they tell darker stories, right? Particularly through Game of Thrones. And is Star Wars still going to be trying to sell toys?
Right. Well, based on how well sales are going now, maybe they won't,
Yeah. So, I don't know. But I guess after that Kickstart, so was that 2021? There's going to be a new one every other year.
Every other year, which is smart.
Yeah.
And it's going to be crisscrossing with the Avatar sequels.
Yes. Wait, no, I said that wrong. It'll be every other year beginning 2022.
2022.
And the Avatar films will start 2021. And I think they will every other year hopscotch.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now that'll be interesting because you got Aquaman 2 is coming out the same time a new Star Wars movie is.
22?
I believe so.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
December 16th, 2022.
Yeah.
Is Aquaman 2. And it's interesting to me that Aquaman will be the presumptive champ.
Yeah.
Right? Because Warner Brothers is not going to move Aquaman 2 because of a new Star Wars movie.
Sure.
So number one, if you would have told me that there's going to be a time when Star Wars is like, this is like Rocky at the end of Rocky 3, like now he has to, he's already lost, he has to prove,
Yeah.
But like Aquaman is the Clubber Lang in the situation.
Right.
What world are we living in?
I know. That seems like a really long time to wait for that sequel, by the way.
For Aquaman?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 years, right?
That's a very long time.
That seems like too long, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder... I don't know. I mean, is he going to appear in any other movies in between that?
I wonder about that. That's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, at least 3 years, I would have said.
Yeah.
If 4 years seems like, yeah, that's like Jurassic Park and The Lost World. That's like a big gap. Right? Anyway, well, that's a conversation we'll have another time, I guess.
Yeah. And then finally, just a little bit of lighter news and happy news. John Williams is already at work scoring Rise of Skywalker, and apparently he has 25 minutes of score written.
And John Williams' his last Star Wars score.
Yeah, and he's he's a very genial guy, but he said he likes what he's seen very much.
Oh, well.
And He has this quote I thought was really nice from when Force Awakens opened, and it said, "To be able to work for nearly 40 years off and on the same subject and be able to add themes and musical material to the glossary of themes that went before it." He said it's been a unique challenge, but tremendous fun.
And it really, it's, I mean, say what you want about the sequels, but the thematic material he's introduced in them has really become absorbed into the mainstream, you know?
Yeah, they're great.
The First Order music, the Rey music, you know?
I particularly love the Rey music. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Again, that feels more momentous to me than just the idea of the Skywalker saga ending. The idea that John Williams' contribution to this franchise is going to be ending.
Yeah, as I was reading this article, I was thinking, I already can't wait to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm curious. Do you think he's going to do? Do you think he's going to do the next Indiana Jones movie? Supposedly, it's going to come out July of 2021.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
I think at the very least, and I say this with full optimism of his health and everything, because he seems like a pretty spry guy. He's working a lot.
Yeah.
I think if he is feeling tired, which he is entitled to,
yes,
maybe he'll write some themes and pass it along.
Yeah.
But I imagine he will be somehow contributing
involved.
to that.
Assuming that thing ever gets made.
Yes.
Which is kind of a coin toss.
Yeah.
Any other news?
Yeah, this was kind of an interesting thing. Not necessarily Star Wars news, but Star Wars fun. Did you see where these filmmakers reimagined the Obi-Wan Kenobi Darth Vader duel from Episode 4?
I did see it, and it's gone viral, and I was not a fan.
I thought it was fun. I mean, if people are talking about, I've seen people talk about cutting it into Episode 4, and I'm like, well, that's ridiculous.
Yes.
But as like this novelty, I thought it was fun.
So the idea here is that, you know, the obviously the lightsaber fight in Episode 4 is relatively sedate compared to what, you know, the prequels showed in terms of how lightsaber fighting goes.
Yes. And as a reunion emotionally between these two, after we saw them, they were at a burning volcano, and
right,
you know, the tension was high.
Sure, right. So the you know, what we get is a lot of, it looks like a CG, like a computer cutscene.
I actually thought they were using a video game and recreating it using the system or something.
Yeah, it looks like a something from a video game, and so that was distracting. I just, somebody, because I had a few people like, oh, what do you think of this? It looks awesome, and I was like, I don't know, it didn't really do much for me, and so I'm being like grumpy grandpa, I guess.
I thought it was fun. I think if I had any critique, if they really wanted it to sort of seamlessly fit in, I would have not moved the camera as much. Yeah,
it was. There was like Michael Bay stuff going on.
Yeah, and not even, even more so, it felt, we both had the feeling it was a video game because of the way the camera was moving, which I think
didn't feel natural.
But it was fun. I thought it was fun seeing it cut between the scene of Han and Luke and Leia escaping and then back to that, and it was a fun distraction for 3 minutes.
I had somebody comment on my comment because I was like, well, I don't know, it's fine, I guess, whatever, not for me. And somebody in referring to me says, well, his sequel generation, sequels meaning the original trilogy, likes the simplicity and finds implied power behind actions, and my prequel generation likes the complex choreographed fights that show the power. And I thought, well, yeah, I guess that's true. Like, if you came in with the prequels,
sure, and
then they were your gateway to the original trilogy, yeah, you probably look at that in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for me, I'm like, well, I've watched this movie for 40 years. I've never had a problem with it. Like, the lightsaber fight never took me out of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, and me saying that I thought it was fun isn't me knocking the original. I mean, the original is the original, and I say don't touch it.
Yeah, no, I think you and I are coming at it more from the same place, which is like, well, it works fine the way it is.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I think that's, again, we talk about how people are going to plug in different ways. Like if people came in again, yeah, if your first lightsaber fight is Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, then yeah, when you have geriatric, two old dudes kind of with slowly twirling around and hitting each other,
Right.
I mean, Episode 4 was my first lightsaber fight, so I just took that as what it is,
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I think the fact that this franchise, I mean, how much time and energy went into doing this?
Seriously.
Right? And it's like a thing you're never going to make money off of. So that's, so I'm almost contradicting what I said earlier about whether there's still fans left, I mean, there's always going to be Star Wars fans.
Oh, yeah.
Question is, will there be an audience for the stuff that continues to proliferate into the future?
Yeah. But if people who want to check it out, I think if you Google Star Wars SC-38.
There you go.
That's, yeah.
Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up this discussion. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Wow, we covered a lot of ground.
I know.
And we didn't even have like a spoiler discussion. We got that coming up in 2 weeks. We'll be talking about Aladdin and Godzilla.
Yeah,
Godzilla, King of the Monsters. So that's getting some interesting buzz so far. So I'm looking forward to discussing both of those films with you.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Also coming up, commentary tracks. We have the 30th anniversary of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade coming up, and we'll be talking through that. I feel very comfortable saying that's one of my all-time favorites and one of your all-time favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be joined by Sean Coyle, who also shares a deep affinity for that movie.
Yep. I can't wait for that.
I've seen that movie a million times, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna be watching it again. I'm like, can't wait.
I mean, let's be honest. Prepare for a love fest.
Yeah, it's going to be that. Also, coming up, slightly different from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Brian and I will be talking through Godzilla, the 1998 Roland Emmerich, Dean Devlin catastrophe. We might be tipping our hand a little bit there, but I'm looking forward to having that conversation. It will probably be a very different flavor than our Indiana Jones one.
Yeah, I'm going to have to... Some of these I don't need to revisit, and I can do the commentaries with you because I know them, like Bill and Ted. I know them word for word. I have not seen this movie. I don't even know if I've seen it all the way through since the theater.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to checking this out and just sitting back and chatting through it with
see
you.
What happens?
Yeah.
And hey, we may have another commentary drop in as well. I'll leave that as a tantalizing mystery to be determined at a later date. What's funny is as I'm talking to you, I have like the Obi-Wan fight thing just playing on mute, and so I'm like watching it. I'm like, oh, all right, well, that looks kind of cool.
Yeah, as a novelty, not as a they did it wrong. It needs to be fixed.
Like just as its own thing. Okay, I can give props. They did some interesting stuff. So fine, you win, internet.
I like that moment happened on air.
Yeah, literally as I'm talking to you, it's playing. I was like, But anyway, like I said, that wraps up this episode, but we got lots of content left to carry us through the month of May. And please, if there's anything you want us to talk about or cover, you can contact us and let us know. You can email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com or hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and contact us through there. Please, as I ask each and every episode, go to iTunes, leave a star rating, leave a review if you can, and let us know what you think of the show. Let us know what you'd like us to do, because we can try to keep generating content that you're interested in. Also, go to the Nostalgia Theater Show, same drill there. Check out latest episode there is my commentary track for Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, featuring Glenn Greenberg and my friend Chris Clow, who co-hosts Discovery Debrief with me. So lots of Star Trek content.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for Brian, you can find his work where, Brian?
Puppy Dog Pals, airing all hours of the day on Disney and Disney Junior.
My gosh, my daughter loves that show so much.
Oh, really? Oh,
puppies. Puppies. That's what she says. As for me, you can find me at my website, ZackisCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's also my Twitter. That's also my Instagram. At my website, you can see my full review of Detective Pikachu. And if you want, 1,000 words about my experience watching that movie, it's there. So that wraps up this episode, but thank you everybody for listening, and join us next time. We'll catch you later.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian.